See? The real test is not when you have everything. The real test is what can you do from the bottom with only you and the Most High there. That's the real test. Huh? And they don't like that because why? If they build your status and feel they can take it away, think about this, folks. They'll always have one up over you. And it was something about these true believers in Christ Nero couldn't deal with. Why? They weren't going to compromise with the Roman government. So what did he do? So check out what he did, Nero. Nero's cruel punishments for Christians. The person, now I'm going to tell you this, even though this is saying Christians right here, for those who missed it, we know that according to the book of Acts, these Christians were black. So black people in America and others, whether you ascribe to the religion Christianity or not, this is talking about you. This is talking about you. Okay? Historically, these were your people. Now, of course, there's many people who believe in Christ, God, and the Bible, and would never step foot in one of these Christian churches. And you know what? I wouldn't blame them. Those are the Christians Nero feared. Those who wouldn't compromise and celebrate Sunday instead of Saturday. Because the Most High in that same Bible said, remember the Sabbath. Wasn't going to compromise Passover for Easter. To make the emperor happy. See? According to the Roman historian Tacitus, this is history, folks, Nero himself may have been responsible for starting the fire, although this claim is disputed by some scholars. Now, when you look in the annals of Rome, Tacitus, I believe Tacitus was correct. Tacitus didn't have a dog in the fight. Tacitus was a white man. And he said he knew that Nero dressed up some people looking like black Christians, sent them in the markets to actually burn certain areas to demonize Christians as a pretext of what? The Senate coming together in an agreement with Nero, even though they didn't like him, but that united the government against our people, where what? The Senate voted to have armies, that's right, folks, patrolling Jerusalem for the first time in history. Roman armies not patrolling Rome. We used to police ourselves in Israel. For the first time, after this happened in 64 AD, it began the Roman Empire infiltrating our people by patrolling us with military in Jerusalem. See? Tacitus was correct. Nero was eager to deflect blame for the disaster. He seized upon the growing Christian community as a convenient scapegoat. Scapegoat. Let me show y'all something. Burning Rome, burning Christians. Okay. This is published online by Cambridge University Press. In the year 64, during the Principate of Nero, and in the night between July 18th and 19th, a fire broke out in Rome that within 9 days destroyed or badly damaged a substantial part of the city, leaving many dead or homeless. rumors circulated that the fire had been set by Nero, who it was claimed sought to divert blame from himself by holding responsible a new sect of aggressively proselytizing Jews. These are Israelites, folks, known as Christians. Most recent scholarship has rejected the popular view of Nero as an arsonist who fiddled while Rome burned. But Tacitus' history is correct, folks. Don't listen to your modern day historians. I've read this in the Annals of Rome. They all know that this was politically motivated. Largely ignored, however, has been the question of whether the Christians, generally regarded as innocent scapegoats of Nero, might in fact have played some role in the fire. This chapter considers the problematic nature of Christianity and Roman attitudes towards Christians in the first century. You know why? Because that was us before the fall of Jerusalem. And they're using the same tactics, seeking the same outcome today. And I'm going to show you it came out in that debate last night. Antiquities of Tacitus in the Annals of Rome. I've read this before. The Annals. I have the Annals, in my library, because I wanted to study their political trends. The Bible states there's nothing new under the sun. So everything they did before, because our people are so naive, they'll just play the same thing out again. They'll do a false flag, and as a pretext, they'll have foreign armies policing where the children of Israel, who are predominantly Christians, live, as a pretext to rid the earth of Israel altogether. Pushing that to the side to hear what the corporations are saying, not just through Trump, not just through Kamala. The questions that are given them both, folks, the questions that ABC are using has been given to them by the corporate powerhouses, the interest groups, those who really control the world. So you have to listen to the questions to know what's coming. Fair use. Fair use. Now, before I go into this, let me show you, according to the Bible, what was the end result of what Nero politically put into play. So this is what eventually happened. So, what happened? 64 BC, Nero, according to Tacitus, produced a political false flag. Fires broke out in different markets within the Roman Empire, blamed on black Israelites or those who believed in Christ. Okay? That united the Senate to actually do what? Agree with their political nemesis, Nero, to get some level of patrolling through the Roman army in Jerusalem to watch our people, which led to 6 years later, 70 AD, after the regime change, some 6 years later, after the regime change, Vespasian and Titus, his son Titus, General Titus, put a trench around Jerusalem using who? those who initially began to patrol Jerusalem for reconnaissance as spies. And the same people they got to patrol Jerusalem end up taking the people down, and our people fell through mass slaughter in Jerusalem. A lot of us ran into Africa, Morocco, and different parts. This is history. And it started off with a false flag. So now, let's look at their modus operandi. They demonize through false flag. Put things out there that these are the bad guys. Then, as a pretext so that they can have the citizens feel safe, you know what? We're just going to have some army police you all for a while until things calm down. But at the end of it, like in Masada, they built a wall around Jerusalem for those who would try to escape, only to be destroyed by the same army who were within the borders of the wall. Look up Masada in the Josephus War of the Jews. They built a wall, not to keep people out, but to keep people in. Let's read it. I'm in Luke 20, 21 and 20. After what Nero did, it was guess what? What was the pretext that led to Vespasian and Titus now coming against Jerusalem some 6 years later? Where there were some Israelites who started showing forth military force against Rome, confirming the fears of the Roman Empire, giving credibility to now Nero's political construct to come against the Israelites. Everyone knew that Nero was a nut job. But then when Nero was no longer in place, you had Israelites now showing themselves as a political force in the Roman Empire, now giving Nero the nut job credibility. And given what? Rome the moral, political high ground to not come against these nut job Israelites who want to show some political force, but to come against all of Israel, all of Jerusalem. And when you shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, that means armies are all within the borders. And you have to look at that same time period from the time of the false flag to the time there's foreign troops policing our people. Then know that the desolation thereof is near. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains. A lot of our people did, who followed Christ, who understood the prophecy. This is Christ speaking, mind you. One of his last warnings before he would do what? Be resurrected to the Father. And let them which are in the midst of it, the city, depart out. And let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto. So if you are in the rural areas or in the country areas, do not go into the city at this time. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. Woe unto them that are with child. I'm going to show you why it says woe to them with child, because on Kamala's side, she has a plan for the children. And to them that give suck. In those days, for there shall be a great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people. and they shall fall by the edge of the sword, the Roman sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. It led to our slavery, our captivity. Christ warned us this would happen. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles. So the people over there in the Middle East are Gentiles. When we left, Gentiles went into the land.